Science Academy, the science provider of the nation.
The first portion what we are going to study is about time. Time is one of the most valuable thing what we know. Also we can say that time is the most valuable thing, as we all know. So sir, there are several quotes about time. Time is valuable than gold, or there are several. Let it be. Let's just say me. Do you have any idea about time? So, if I ask you what is the time now itself, immediately you will look after the watch or the clock what you have at your home or in your hand. Immediately you will say that the time is this much. If I ask you what is the simple unit or the basic unit we measure time, as we all know, the basic unit is second. Right. So one day has 24 hours. An hour has 60 minutes. A minute has 60 seconds. Can you say me that? Is there any possibility to cross the time? So several people are doing researches on how to go through or cross the time. The first ever person, one of the first ever person who explained about the time cross is none other than Albert Einstein. So here we'll say it about the relativity of time. But however, in our syllabus that we study, time is not a time is a non-relative quantity. Non-relative means it is not related on any other thing. For example, the time now in Sri Lanka and United Kingdom are different. Yes. Now if it is 5:30, there it is 5:30 p.m. there it is 12 p.m. exactly. But the 1 minute in UK and 1 minute in Sri Lanka, that time space is equal. This space, that 1 minute space or the gap, how we measure the second value, is not related on anything. That is what we are saying it, non-relative. If the time is relative, it is possible to cross the time. What Albert Einstein said is, he said that time can be made related. It's a big chapter, I am not going to it. So, what you should know on the time is measured in second. The standard international unit of time is second. Time is a non-relative quantity. So do we say 1 second right, 1 second left, 1 second up, 1 second down? We never say. Therefore time is a scalar quantity. That is the thing what we should know under the category time. Let's consider two locations, A and B. A and B. Now, there are 4 different ways to move from A to B. There are 4 different ways to move from A to B. The first way is 300 meter in length. Second part is 400 meter in length. And the third one is 600 meter in length. And the fourth part is 800 meter in length. Right. So there are 4 paths to move from A to B. So if a person move from A to B in this route, which is length 400 meter, the distance what he traveled is 400 meters. So let's say the person X moves in the 400 meter length route. So the distance of X is 400 meter, and Y, the person Y selected the distance length of 300 meter, the route which is length 300 meter. So if we move through that route, the distance of Y is 300 meter. So the person Z select the longest route, it is 800 meter. So the distance what Z moved is 800 meter. And finally the person M select the path which is length 600 meter, and the distance of M is 600 meters. So here the X, Y, Z and M, all of them are traveling in different paths. If they ask you what is distance, distance is the length of moving path. So X moved in the path which is length 400 meter. Therefore, the distance of X is 400 meter. Y moved in 300 meter path. The distance is 300 meter. Z moved in the route which is length 800 meter. Therefore, the distance is 800 meter. Also, the person M moved in 600 meter route. Therefore, the distance is 600 meters. Here, distance means the length of moving path. But if they ask you what is the displacement of M, X, Y and Z, two of them started in the same point and two of them ended in the same point. If they ask you what is displacement, you should find the shortest distance between A and B. So as we all know, A is here and B is here. The shortest length will be a straight line. It is none other than a curved line. It will be a straight line. Therefore, if you find the straight line, it will be about 200 meters. So displacement means the change of positions. So displacement is defined a change of position that occurs from a point to another in a particular direction is called displacement. So the displacement can be defined as change of position occurred from a point to another. Change of position, or initially X, Y, Z, M, all of them were at A, and at final time X, Y, Z and M, they were at the point B. So the change of position occurs from one point to another point in a particular direction is called displacement. So here, if you consider the displacement of M, it is none other than 200 meter because started at A and ended at B. Therefore, the displacement is 200 meter. The displacement of X, the same 200 meter. The displacement of Y, the same 200 meter. Z, the same 200 meter. But the distance are changing. Also, if you consider all of their direction is same. All of their direction, if I consider the upper portion as north, the upper part is at north, it is none other than east. Therefore, everyone's movement has done. The displacement is done in the east direction. Therefore, if I ask you what is the displacement of M, the answer should be 200 meter east, because a displacement is a vector quantity which should be explained using magnitude and vector. So The distances are 600, 400, 300, 800 meters. Displacement are the same. Is 200 meter, direction is east. And x, the same 200 meter, direction is east. Y, this 200 meter, direction is east. And z, 200 meter, direction is east. So if they ask you what is distance, distance is the length of moving path. It varies, it has no proper direction. It changes. For example, if you consider the movement of y started the movement from A to B through the path length 300 meter. If you consider, it is changing. First the direction is like this, upper direction, down direction, again changing. So the direction is not constant. Even if you consider about the Z1 is coming down, again changing, the directions are changing. They are not constant. Here the case is, simply what we should know is, the directions are changing. The distance have no proper direction, only the magnitudes they are to express it. Therefore the difference between distance and displacement, distance is a scalar quantity, can be explained or expressed through only magnitude. But vector, there should be two things. The first one is a direction and a magnitude. So in these four cases, m, x, y, z, all of them have the same displacement of magnitude 200 and the direction east. So if they ask you, two of them are specially measured in meters. Two of them are measured in meters, but you can use kilometer and miles, everything. But the standard international unit, the SI unit is meters. So if you consider about distance is the length of moving path, and it's a scalar quantity. If you consider about displacement, it is a vector quantity, and it should be mentioned with this. It is. If you consider about displacement, it is defined as a change of position from a point to another in a particular direction. So two of them, distance and displacement, meters.
Science Academy, the science provider of the nation.